Peace, love, and abundance. Welcome. You are tuning in to Cruise Control Convos with Sister Soul, a space for the divine beings choosing liberation over conformity. And I am your host, Sister Soul with two L's, and those two L's stands for lessons and love. Y'all, it feels amazing to be here. We are officially in summer. I'm sure everybody that is watching this have been shining and radiant and really enjoying the beginning of a new season, not just a season of summer, but a season of igniting the fire within you. I know, at least for myself, that's what it's felt like. I've stepped into so much. I have been in Cali for 2 weeks now. I left Florida on July 1st. And I've been celebrating so much. I celebrated the release of Cruise Control Convos Season 3. I celebrated a 1 year anniversary of Cruise Control Convos, and I've been celebrating so much. I've been taking so many leaps. I've been learning how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable as I expand and I integrate all the things that I've been learning over the years into the woman that I've become and enjoying who I have become instead of trying to figure out the next step. Really just allowing me to be in this space of nothingness while also being everything at the same time, if that makes sense. I actually wrote a piece about, the in between. I have that on Substack, and I also did a small reading on it on my smaller platforms, my Instagram and my TikTok. So if you guys aren't following that, make sure you go ahead and do so and connect with us on our Instagram, our podcast Instagram as well. Now, today's episode is about being in the in between. I've been having so many different um, realizations and a lot of clarity on what this meant for me. And it's like, how you have an idea of how things are supposed to be, or you get insight on something and you understand it. And then when it comes back to you again and you go deeper in it, that's what it has been like for this past week. This past week, I've gotten so much clarity on so many different things, and especially the in between and why it felt so uncomfortable, why it felt so isolating. And I was doing a voice memo of just channeling and allowing myself to talk. It's something that I love to do. I have so many voice memos and so many journal entries of me just channeling and writing what comes through. And I said something that I wanted to talk about today. And I felt like it was perfect because when you are in a season of integration, um, which is essentially the in between, you feel like you aren't doing enough or you feel like you're not really moving anywhere. But when you think about a plant, when you plant a seed and you have the different phases of a seed, and you know how the roots have to go further down before anything sprouts up. And that's how it feels to be in the in between. It feels like being the seed in the ground and there's nothing around you, but there's everything around you, if that makes sense. Like, you have everything you need right underground with you, and the cosmos, God is going to water you. It's going to rain when you need to have the rain. You're going to be watered. You're going to have everything you need in that space, long as you focus on what it is that you're supposed to be doing. And that's what the in between feels like. It can feel suffocating if you're not looking at it or receiving it as a space of growth, and expansion, rather than a space of limit, like your limit, or instead of a limited space. Because in all reality, when your roots are growing, your roots grow freely. There is no, I only go down, I only go up. You're going out, you're going diagonal, you're going horizontally. Like, you are expanding in every which way you can. And you're not really, your soul, as you're growing and expanding, you're not really worrying about if you're taking up space. You're not really worrying about if you're going to cross over into somebody else's, in another plant's area, because you know where God planted you and that soil was just for you. And being able to have that perception and being able to accept that in that way, it feels so good. It feels so relieving. Now, it doesn't mean I am 100% comfortable, but I am comfortable with being uncomfortable. Like, I am uncomfortable with I am comfortable with knowing that all I can do is everything that I feel called to do, everything that feels resonant for me to do, everything that aligns with my overall, intention, and me choosing and having moments and being more intentional and surrendering time and time again everything that I think I know for God's limitless, the source is limitless, the universe is, want and desire to be everything for me, to give me everything that I need. So it's like these past couple weeks, like just this past week, I feel like I'm always constantly quantum leaping. Like, even in this space of being in the in between. And if some of y'all follow me on social media, back in April, I had such a terror moment, like a tower moment, for any of you that are into, a tower moment. um House was infested with mole. I was getting sick for a couple of months but not really knowing what it is, and the mole was found in my closet. And that was crazy for us. Like, at that time, me and my ex were still living together, and we both have asthma. Like, it was just a lot going on. And that mole was a representation of everything that was going on internally. And I feel like that was a moment to set us both free, not from each other, but from a season of our lives that neither one of us either fit in. And I don't want to speak too much on her, but I didn't want to ignore the fact that I wasn't going through that alone, but I was still in isolation. You can have people around you and you still be in isolation. I was still in isolation. I was stepping into the in between at that moment. Everything I had was gone. I left Atlanta with 5% of everything that I own: TVs, clothes, books, printers, projector, bed sets, perfume, jewelry, clothes, like everything got left behind. um we were told, technically, the mole, I'm allergic to mole, so I couldn't really take my clothes. I would have to wash everything, and I felt like that would have been me trying to hold on to something that God was literally telling me to let go of. So I did that, and I was obedient. From there, I went to Jacksonville, tried to see if I could anchor there. It was a beautiful city. I'm like, okay, I know I want to be by the water. I love Florida. Let me try. But this is the thing. Let me tell you what. Let me be real vulnerable with you guys. I wasn't going after what I truly wanted. Yes, being by the water was something that I wanted to do. Yes, being in Florida, but I wasn't fully stepping into the in between. I kept trying to control everything. And when I was in Jacksonville, I got knocked up off my feet multiple times. So many spiritual attacks, so many like eye-opening events that was just so random, like so random. Like one night, my last night, when I realized, like, okay, I can't stay here. Like, this is not what I'm supposed to be doing. I had termites infest my room right before I went to sleep. Cannot make this up. Like, it was termites everywhere. And I was like, you know what, God, I'm not even mad. I know what you're doing. I know I'm not supposed to be here. I know what it is I'm supposed to be doing. Let me go do what I need to do. I packed up my bags. I went to a hotel. That next day, I got on a bus and hauled down to Orlando. A friend came and picked me up from Orlando, and we drove to Tampa. And that's why I was in Tampa the last month, in June. And I needed that time. I needed that time to expose myself to the environment that I grew up in, but remembering that I was returning as someone else, not the 18-year-old girl that had left. Like, I didn't return the same way. And I believe that was, I don't want to say the test, but that was the lesson. Being able to be in spaces, being able to be around people that no longer can feed you or resonates with who you've become, and still being able to be anchored and grounded in who you are, and giving yourself grace for those moments that you slip back into old patterns and old ways because you are being triggered. I realized, like, just because I was doing good and trying my best to stay on my routines, to stay grounded, to speak up for myself and do all these things, I had to work 10 times harder. And in that moment, while I was there, I was realizing, like, Just because I can doesn't mean I should. Just because I'm capable of pushing back when I'm being challenged doesn't mean I have to be or I should be in environments that costs me more energy just to be the person that I've grown and worked so hard to be. I left home at 18. I'm a Navy veteran that went from serving the country to serving my fucking self. I'm not serving nobody else but me. I'm serving my purpose. I've stepped into the woman that God sent me here to be, the divine vessel that God source, the universe sent me here to be. And to be open and fully receptive to that, it took me to be okay with and grieve the parts of me and allow my inner child to grieve those things that she really desired from external things, and let her know that it is safe and that I will be able to provide that for her, um, and how that look was being able to speak up for myself, to stand firm on boundaries, to speak up even when I didn't feel understood, because as long as I understood where I was coming from, as long as I, stood up for myself and stood my ground, that's what mattered the most. Because people will not always hear you. Some people will do their best to actually misunderstand you, and because they are trying their hardest to defend themselves rather than to be receptive to what it is that you're saying, and without being judgmental about that, because everybody has their own journey, but learning how to look at it like, okay, this is what it is. I said what I needed to say. You've responded at which the way you heard and received what I said, and therefore there's nothing else to say or anything else to do. And being able to move with grace, being able to adjust and accept people for who they are showing you to be, accept situations for what they are, and being able to walk away, being able to create space, and being okay with stepping into the unknown, even when it's uncomfortable. And that is really how this in between has been for me. Like, really just all these different realizations of, oh my goodness, like, damn, I've really done so much work. Like, I feel like a big part of my life, a big part of my adulthood was in the military. I spent more of my adult years in the military than I have spent as a civilian, and I wasn't giving myself grace or credit for that. I was in the military from 18 to 23, and that didn't click to me till today. I'm 27, and those 6 years, 5 6 years was a lot. And that wasn't only a lot, those were the beginning of my adult years. That was a foundation that was supposed to be, I don't want to say supposed to be, but essentially it was a foundation that I was building at that time. And these past years of me getting out, after I got out, I struggled for a year. Like, it was very hard for me. And then I moved to Atlanta, and then after I moved to Atlanta, I got into a relationship, and I fell deep into my relationship trying to please everybody and trying to play this role for another family that wasn't mine. Like, it was just so many different things. And then I went to school. Like, I didn't ever stop and say, damn, girl, like, I noticed how much I did, but I didn't notice and value my journey. I didn't value my growth and how far I had come. And then this month, like this past month and going into this month, I realized, like, whoa, you've done so much and you've been leaving out so much information. You're not only a woman, a sovereign woman, a liberated woman, but your story started in the military. Your story started as an adult in the military. You did not just have this easy path of going from, you know, being 18, getting in the workforce, going to college. You went from being the eldest daughter, already having childhood trauma, already having that mentality, you got to do it all. That eldest daughter, if that eldest daughter mindset of, I can't be happy until everyone else happy, performing for love, people pleasing. You went from that manifested into something else in the military. You went to these structured systems. Even though you were an artist and a creative, your whole majority of your life, you've been dancing, performing, singing. Your innocence wiped away. And this is me processing these things with me. Like, your innocence gone, poof, at the drop of a dime. No time to no time to transition. Like, soon as I stepped off that bus in the military, that was it. And then from that, and then to into another, like, that was a lot. Like, that arc is something that I have not been able to fully share, because I feel like, in a sense, I was trying to ignore the fact that my past wasn't as easy, and I was so stuck on trying to only show the resilient side. I wasn't fully allowing myself to share the other pieces of my story and the pieces of my puzzle on why I started to live a sovereign life, a life of liberation, a womb led life. Why and how I was able to step in my purpose, what drove me into alchemy and transmutation, and knowing that there was more in life for me. And it's because I seen so much in the military that forced me. It was like a catalyst. The Navy was a catalyst for my spiritual awakening. The Navy was a catalyst for me to fully step into my purpose and to remember who the fuck I was. So, seeing all this, I'm getting goosebumps seeing all of this and reflecting on all of this and realizing this is the part that's been missing in my story, and figuring this out in my integration period, in my in between, has been so relieving. It felt like a big sigh. Like, you ever had a tight chest where you felt like you couldn't inhale, like your lungs wasn't expanding fully? So it's like you were never taking a deep enough breath, and then I instantly felt like I could breathe again. Not because I couldn't before, but it felt like that final exhale in a chapter that no longer was I was ever living in, but I couldn't let go of. And now it's like I feel like I'm in that space where I'm starting to wiggle up, and I'm about to break the surface and finally see the sun, finally see the garden that's around me. Because one thing you don't know in the in between, you don't know who's waiting on the other side of those doors. Just like when you're a plant and you're coming up, you don't know how beautiful the garden is going to be around you. You don't know what animals you're going to be surrounded by. You have no idea what community is ready to meet you, because you can't see anything. You can't see anything underground when you are blooming, when you are rooting yourself underground. You can't see what's ready to meet you on the surface yet. And that's what I keep like reminding myself, like, enjoy where I am. I am almost there. I can feel it. I can smell it. I can literally feel it in my bones, how close I am to the surface. It's like my crown has already started tingling. I've already started feeling that sunlight. So I've already been celebrating, already been enjoying, and just allowing myself to be one with God, one with everything, and one with this moment, one with life, and knowing that my in between and my isolation, my integration was preparation and a time to pause before I stepped into the next thing in my life, because I never got to pause like this. And I've been doing a 31 days. So on July 1st, well, the last 2 days of June, I had decided I was going to do a 31 days of integration and creation while in the in between. And so I am on today is day 13. Tomorrow's the 14th, new moon. Yeah, today's the 13th. This is my 13th day. And this July, I genuinely feel like my integration and creation in the in between is going to end before the 31st. But I also know that I really feel like this week and next week, like I'm gonna just say it. I really feel like this week and next week are my last weeks in the in between. I'm saying that with a lot of, I know that's bold to say, but like I said, I feel it. And so, to anyone that is listening, to anyone that has been listening and taking in what I'm saying, I really want you to realize where you are in life right now. Like, I really want you to sit down and go back, however old you are. I am 27. I'll be 28 this year. I left home at 18. So I look back on my last 9 to 10 years and seeing that big arc, that big story, and I broke it down. And excuse me, I know everybody's journey is different, but to anyone out there that is figuring out, or that is in the in between, or feel like they're close to being in the in between and making a big jump, a big leap, and I really need you to remember that it's not meant for you to see everything when you're underground for a reason. You sometimes can you sometimes can sabotage yourself by knowing too much. Being in the unknown is really, I have to agree with one of my favorite um prophetic readers, Natija. Being in the unknown is a lot of the times is protection, because we will try to fix ourselves up to be the person we think needs to be able to hold what we've been shown and what we need. And in all reality, we already be ready. So stop thinking that you are supposed to be somewhere else in life. Like, you have done enough. And listen with discernment. I remind y'all this. I don't feel like I have to say this, but I say it anyway. Listen with discernment, because everybody's season is different. And it's so important to know your season. And I knew it was important for me to realize that the season that I was in was the in between. And I even made I made a big choice to even pull back some of my offerings in my one-on-one coaching. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because it's so important to know that when you are slowing down, it's not because you're moving at a pace that's not fast, but you're moving at a pace that's intentional. Because when intention meets alignment, you been time, baby. Time don't mean shit. So I realized I needed to slow down. I'm ready to service others, and I haven't even gotten to serve myself. I haven't even fully gotten to enjoy the woman who has done so much work. I haven't really gotten to enjoy the sacrifices the 18-year-old made so I could be where I am right now. And that's what was important to me, being able to enjoy the in between, which is why I decided to do a 31-day integration and creation. And I've been sharing that journey on social media. And I feel like now I can take it a step further and expand everything that I've learned, everything that I've healed, everything that I've accepted and received in these periods of my life. Springtime taught me so much, but these past 2 weeks have taught me, oh my goodness, it has been so much clarity, and it has been an overflow of just an overflow in every part of my life. And I'm so grateful for that. So like I said, you are not meant to see everything, but just know when you come out of that ground after being after glitching, y'all. I'm glitching. That's the mercury in microwave. That's the mercury in the microwave. But after being and going so deep in the ground, going, as soon as you pop your head out, it's going to be so beautiful. It's going to feel so overwhelming of like, damn, this been out here waiting for me this whole time. Like, while I was underground, this was what, this is what the divine was preparing for me this whole time. Look at those sunflowers. Look at those roses. Look at that orange tree. Look at that mango tree. Look at those reindeers. Look at that wolf over there. I hear that owl. I see those red cardinals. Oh my goodness, look at that waterfall. Like, so many different things are waiting to greet you. Just give yourself the space to rest. Make your to-do list smaller. Instead of to-do list, do list of do set your intention for the day, and make your priorities for the week, and get to what you can. If you don't do what I do, I align my days with the energy of the cosmos. Each day has a planet, and I align my days with the energy of the planet for each day, and that helps me. But I really just really wanted to share that today. I felt called to share my reflections today, a lot more in depth than I expected to, but I'm a vessel. And so, yeah, I really do love y'all, and I appreciate all y'all support. If you guys feel called to connect deeper, please reach out to me on Instagram. I am also taking guests for this season 3. I also want you guys to let me know how you guys feel and resonate with these episodes. Don't be shy, don't be afraid. I really feel like this is, especially in a time right now, community is so important. It is everything, and we need to be connecting and networking with the people that we resonate with and that align with things that we are navigating through in life. You know, especially us creatives, multi-hyphenate creatives, us neurodivergents, like Black community. Like, we all need each other right now. We always needed each other, but right now it's been the most important. With the state of the world, people losing their jobs, people becoming homeless, all these different things, there's not a better time for us to create and connect together right now. So feel free to connect with me, follow me on my other socials. Because to go deeper into my personal journey, feel free to follow me on all my other social accounts. Follow my personal YouTube. I'll leave everything in the description below. But I love you guys, and I'm sending you so much peace, love, and abundance and prosperity. Remember to stay grounded, and remember who the fuck you are, and show them who you are. It's your girl, Sister Soul, with 2 L's, the cosmic euphoric goddess. And this has been another episode of Cruise Control Convos with Sister Soul.